Hello, hello, it's time for more Bakemonogatari. Chapter 52, Araragi in the bookstore has just seen Sengoku, the main subject of this arc, put down a book. He hastily rushed over to see what it was, and it was the most disturbing thing imaginable. Extremely straightforward and nothing less. So yes, he looks at this book, which is all about curses, all about rituals to impact the world, all about nailing things to things, and then thought back to all of those horrific, hate-filled notes he'd seen nailed to the tree, and the deathbed of many snakes in front of it, all chopped up and nailed to the ground. And there's really only one conclusion he can draw, and like to us as the reader, all of this kind of follows. You know, we're introduced to this character, we see this kind of creepy scene, the kind of juxtaposition of the cuteness of this character and the creepiness of the scene. It all makes sense. But think about this from Araragi's perspective, where this is a girl who is friends with his younger sister, who he can kind of vaguely recall playing with as part of a big group in his youth, and then all of a sudden he runs into her and finds out she's become this sort of person, that she's going through this sort of thing. To have that long legacy of memories, you know? To feel like that his past isn't even safe, that kind of the weirdness of his life as a young adult or a late teen or whatever is almost seeming to poison his past. That all of this is kind of lurking back with him. I don't know. It's intense, right? It's expensive, right? So she's just reading it here. She's still here. Did she see him rush over and grab the book? So finally, after like 3 chapters of hanging out with this store clerk, this long suffering store clerk, she finally gets her finale, rings up Araragi's books as he continues not to pay any attention to her. Oh, what a great character. Slaps down his 10K. Assumption tax. Be 10K exactly. Wow. Wow. Is it a coincidence? Is it her? Did she actually add up all of the prices with tax of all the books she recommended so that it would be exactly 10K yen as he... Just addition and subtraction, right? Just addition and subtraction, right? What a beast. I don't know. There's like, not just the supernatural characters, which will sometimes kind of show off their supernaturalness in these kind of like understated, almost just small miracles in this sort of way. But even characters like Hanekawa or Kanbaru or Senjogahara, who are just normal people that have, you know, extraordinary gifts in certain fields. Seeing those gifts kind of reemerge in the same way as the supernatural qualities, I think is so cool. She's not a normal person. Completely lost sight of her. So stupid. It's my intuition, but I have an idea where she's going. In the circumstances, I'll have her help me. More people, a girl like her is pretty strong. Okay, so he calls up Kanbaru. His plan is to get her and look for Sengoku. Go back to the shrine, see what Sengoku's up to, try to help her out. Now, the very memories he has of Kanbaru during their previous encounter with Sengoku, I think should give him pause. I think he should probably think about what sort of face Kanbaru is making in this little flashback, and maybe not do this. But he goes for it anyways. What's a good idea? My special technique is double jumping. This is a great little illustration of... Looks like Mario, but Mario typically can't double jump either. Mario can wall jump, and he can do what's called a double jump, but it's not a mid-air jump. It's like a jump, and then when you land, you jump again, and you get greater height. That's in a lot of the games. But it's very rare that he can actually jump and then jump again in midair. Like, you can do that in Smash Bros, of course. But I can't really think of any other examples off the top of my head. Outside of, like, certain power-ups, you know, like the propeller hat, the flying squirrel. What the hell am I talking about? Okay, anyways. Kanbaru hanging out in her underwear. where, of course, free now. Can you help me for a bit? What are you doing now? Does you not run over there if you wish, so wish me to, even if it's through a fire. Oh my gosh. For some reason I kept reading that word as though, and I was like very confused. So Araragi trying to be more considerate, trying to figure out what he's actually pulling her away from, so he can make his own call about whether or not it's reasonable to ask for her help, knowing that she'll just run over, even if it's something important. Reading lewd books in my house, having lewd delusions. You can see the monkey kanji written on her head. I regret persistently asking now. I say lewd, it's all BL stuff. Out about 20 books, including the ones I couldn't buy because of exams. So I guess these are all doujinshi. Doujinshi follows kind of an interesting cycle where there's like events, and then if you can't make it out to the event, there's kind of like an understood time period afterwards where all the doujinshi stores will be selling leftovers from Comic Head or whatever event. So those days are pretty insane. The stores are just jam-packed with people trying to pick up all the books they missed. I can easily see buying 20 books that day. Probably have bought 20 books that day. Let's move on. Binge buying thing, right? God, purge buying. I guess I got no choice. Oh man, Oshino-san. Oshino-san doesn't want anything to do with that. Camber, you gotta slow it down. Also, oh great, you gotta slow it down with the fan service. A lot of Camber fan service. It's kind of like now that she's been unlocked, now that she's just kind of like a regular friendly member of the cast and not kind of the antagonist of one of the arcs, I guess we'll be seeing a lot more Camber fan service. That seems to be the pattern. Where am I going? Who's top? Who's bottom? I'm bottom. It was a stupid conversation. Time to go to Israel, but it's fun. And then he runs into the... Oh, that's so great. I just love that so much. He runs into the... What am I trying to describe here? What's this thing called? The... Whatever. You know, this thing. I like that there's a construction worker, someone in the back. You can't see anything about their face or their expression, but you just know that they're looking at Araragi with just like them. Kids. Alright, so we meet up again. Kamburu in another pretty cool outfit. Nowhere near as fan servicey as the last one. The last one, I think she genuinely thought they were on some sort of crazy date. She was really trying to spice things up, so to speak. But this time, I guess this is closer to her actual casual clothing. It's pretty cool. I like that sort of jersey with the collar. I think that's really cool. And I like stuff that has a bottom zip as well as a top zip. I think that's like so fun. You can kind of flap with your bottom. Possibly my superiors wait on me a second time. Yeah, see, this is just it. Just like the Hanekawa mathematical ability. Can't be counted as human. Kamburu's speed. No way, right? Amphibian? Yeah, amphibians are not fast at all. It's very cute. Frog outfit. This conversation is so high power level. You lewd pet. I'm running now. Hurry. No one will call her lewd pet, which is a terrible, terrible name. So they're running up the stairs, trying to find Sengoku before anything terrible happens. Should I have let Shinobu suck my blood? Is this a battle? Is he anticipating a fight scene, or is he just so distraught that he can't climb these stairs? When I climbed Mount Inari, there was like a push near the end where basically it was like, well, there's no real point in stopping now, so let's just go all the way. And it was like hundreds and hundreds of steps. It was genuinely exhausting. Like I didn't think I would get as exhausted as I did, but I totally wiped myself out climbing those stairs. Ooh, she grabs him, and they are off, flying up the steps with her senpai in tow. Her arms powerful enough to push you onto a bed. Were they powerful enough to carry me like a princess? She's telling a little narrative. She's making sure that he understands that every step of the process can be accomplished. Yeesh. According to Oshino-san, apparently you get cured before I reach adulthood. It's too bad. God! He's like, it's that thing from yesterday. That thing, right? Yeah. So she saw it too. I guess she correctly intuits here that they're going to do something about it, that they're doing something related to it. She doesn't understand, though, the connection between that and the girl and who that girl is yet. That will all come. An abnormality. So this is kind of interesting because as of yet, they have no actual evidence of an abnormality, right? So far, all of this this is like fully accomplishable in the secular world, which actually makes it all the more terrifying. It's not some demon doing this. It's not some snake monster or anything, as far as they know. It's just the actions of a very disturbed little girl. This is a really lovely shot. Again, just the density of these forests. The deep, deep tangle of them. It's quite nice. Araragi-senpai was right. You're kind to everyone, Araragi-senpai. I should have known this by now. Now that my position has changed, it gives a different impression. So this is what Hanekawa was talking about as well. That he needs to be more aware of how it feels for the people he's already helped for him to go on and help other people. And Kanbaru is now experiencing that really for the first time, given that she was the latest girl helped. Whereas Hanekawa, of course, being the first girl helped, has been through it oh so many times now. And knows that it will just keep happening and happening and happening. She doesn't know everything. It doesn't seem like she knows that she's in a light novel. She doesn't have that genre awareness. But she knows what she knows, and she can recognize a pattern. It's pointless to feel indebted to him. First off, are Senjo Gohara and Kanbaru on a date at the amusement park? I mean, I'm all about that Valhalla combo. Anyways, I like that this flashback is just one line. That it's kind of like this one thing she said. It's pointless to feel indebted to him. Has really lingered with her. That she's really trying to tease out all of the ramifications of her saying something like that with such a wistful look on her face. And I think she's right to do so. That there's quite a lot to this statement. It's pointless to feel indebted to him. That he's acting on kind of a more transcendental sense of justice. That he's doing things simply because they're right. And that... And okay, I'm not actually saying that this is necessarily the case, because we've talked a lot about Araragi's like hidden motives and stuff, which I find quite interesting. But it's certainly valid that they have this understanding of it. That Araragi is more of just sort of like a situation resolving machine. That he's a girl helping machine. That it's pointless to feel personally indebted to him or personally towards him in any sort of way if this is just sort of his default behavior. This is a valid thing to think. What his actual motives are, of course, are a lot more complicated and degenerate. Faster, senpai. She's gonna finish preparing. So it seems like Kanbaru understands quite well the situation. I guess maybe they discussed it some more. Alright, so we're actually gonna get to see this. I kind of thought we would, given that this series is quite explicit, at times quite gory and grotesque. And given that we'd already seen the chopped up snakes, I kind of thought, you know, maybe we'll see actually Son Goku do it. This is not pleasant at all. I don't know why I'm laughing. I just guess to kind of cut the tension personally. Oh, Araragi shouts out to her. Shouts out her name. Trying to stop her from making another snake sacrifice. She cries out, Koyomi Oni-chan. She remembers him, of course. She remembered me. But then she passes out. He manages to catch her right at the last second. Sort of like when he caught Senjogahara all that time ago. But here, instead of Senjogahara's indignation and stapler revenge, Sengoku passes out with a very happy look on her face. What will happen next? And then we cut to Araragi's romantic partner, to our Oshino-san, a Jagirinawa, a snake-cutting rope. Okay. Oshino no kuchi kara katarareru kai no shotai. Okay, so it's like from Oshino's mouth, this word, what does that mean? Kai no. From the word, like, describes the true body of the aberration, I think, is what the bottom right Japanese text says. Okay, so this one advanced quite quickly when it got started, because I think we'll probably get it in some sort of flashback, but we cut immediately from Araragi grabbing her as she collapses in the shrine to Oshino explaining the situation in the abandoned cram school. I don't think there's really much left of this arc. Like, I'm trying to think of what else happens. I thought there was kind of like a thing before they went to go see Oshino. Anyways, we'll find out in the next chapter. Here's another very cute picture of Shinobu. I feel like Shinobu gets the vast majority of these little outro fan arts, which are done by like other famous artists and what have you. Even though she's appeared very, very little in the manga so far, she gets all of the priority in fan art. Not a surprise. Okay, we will reach chapter 53 next. Only 3 more until we're finally caught up.